How you doing, everybody? It's Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner here. Downstairs at the Majestic Theater, where Dream Theater is about to hit the stage in a couple of hours, but first order of business, had to take the time to have the pleasure of talking with lead singer James LaBrie. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to see you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, happy belated Canada Day, by the way.
Yeah, and likewise.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very nondescript. Didn't really do anything other than out here touring with Dream Theater.
Yeah. Well, I was all set last night to start the interview by asking if tonight's show in here in San Antonio was the lucky one to be picked for the DVD filming, until I found out last night that it's going to be Buenos Aires. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about how the production for that, how it was decided for South America.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we looked at the other DVDs, and we've done one in Europe, we've done one in Japan, we've done, like, the last one, Score, was done in New York City. So we considered where we thought it would be best somewhere else in the world, and we thought it makes perfect sense. We're going down to South America in August, and what better opportunity than to set something up there, because we have a lot of amazing fans down there. The particular place that we're playing, I think it's Lunar Park, and it's a beautiful venue. It's an outdoor venue. It's gorgeous, and so hopefully the weather gods will work will work with us on that. But so yeah, we decided that we're going to do a two-night shoot in Buenos Aires.
And of course, the South American fans are always rabid. But if you
they're
wanted a Spanish-speaking town, San Antonio would have been
I
glad to help you out.
know. Hey, yeah, but it's it's just. We weigh out all the pros and cons, and it just made perfect sense for this.
Well, all kidding aside, welcome back to San Antonio.
Thank you.
It's been 2 years. Last time we saw you guys was opening for Iron Maiden at the AT&T Center.
Right.
Do you have any special stories or memories of this city over the years coming? I know sometimes after all these years.
This place I do. Like,
okay.
I do believe that we played here in '93. Did we not?
That long ago?
Yeah, like on the Images and Words tour. I'm pretty sure we played here. I'll have to go back and look, but I'm almost positive that we played here in '93 during the Images tour, and I do recall that it was a very, very cool evening. Texas as a whole, we have our very committed and obligated fans, like we do around the world, and it's been a market not unlike the rest of the states or even Canada, where we're constantly trying to build it here. We're not a radio band, but when we do come through here, San Antonio or anywhere else, the reception and the fans are, they're 100% into it, behind it, supportive, and enthused by what each and every show we have going on every time we come through. So it's always a great experience for the band.
And of course, you guys appeal to thousands of fans. Why was the decision made for this tour to play theaters and mid-level crowds?
Well, mainly because, first of all, we don't usually tour in the summer through the States and Canada, with the exception of Iron Maiden, going out with them, and we weren't even planning on doing that, but then it was thrown at us, they'd like you to come out and do this tour with them, and we were like, oh, well, okay, we're not going to say no to a tour like that. And we've done several shows with Iron Maiden over in Europe over the years, over the last 15 years at least, I think, is we've been doing shows with them. Well, actually, going right back to '92, even at the infancy of Images and Words, the release, we were doing all these warm-up shows for the actual tour to support Images and Words, and we backed up Iron Maiden way back. I think it was sometime in June of '92. So I mean, we've done a lot with them. But the theaters going to this and playing smaller rooms and that is just because, quite simply, the market is saturated in the summer. You have a lot of these mammoth big festivals that are going out. Everyone and their mother is out this summer, and you have to be realistic. You have to realize that there's only so much money that everyone has, and it's almost impossible for them to see every single show that comes through any given city. And for the most part, there's 4 or 5 shows going through most major cities within the States and in Canada. So you have to take that all into perspective and say, what makes sense, where we can still put on a full, productive and full production presentation with Dream Theater. So we decided to kind of bring it back a little bit, and just for that reason alone. If we had been going out in the fall or in the winter here, then maybe the rooms. Although what, I love these kinds of. I mean, Majestic Theater here, I think it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful theater, and so I don't think that it would differentiate that much as far as the venues. It's just we are at that level.
Well, you touched on Images and Words. It's 20 years since that album, basically 20 years since you've been in the band.
As of tomorrow.
Really, 20-year anniversary tomorrow.
Yes.
So, does it feel that much? Does it feel, or has time flown? Is there anything, 1 or 2 things somehow that sticks out?
I came into the band in January of '91. I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I guess it's funny, when you're growing up and you're a teenager or in your 20s and you hear somebody go, you'd be amazed how fast it goes. Like 20 years will just go like that, and you're like, yeah, sure, right. Yeah, right. But it did.
Yeah.
It happened. It's hard to believe that 20 years has gone by since we released Images and Words. So much has happened. We're blessed that we've been able to do it this long and still have that incredible fan base worldwide. But it is slightly, it does take you by surprise when you really sit down and think, wow, has it really been 20 years? But nonetheless, it's been a great ride, and I think that we're continuing to show everyone, especially on this last world tour, that we're just as enthused and excited every time we walk out on stage. I think even more so on this entire world tour than we have maybe in previous tours. So I think that's the main thing, is that we still love what we're doing. We've kind of, feels re-spirited, and we're all reinvigorated. Like it's a really a cool unit right now. So we're still going out there, and it's 20 years on, and we're loving every minute of it. Yeah.
Well, I guess
Lover boy.
Technically, I guess you will be celebrating the 20 years then tomorrow in Austin. And I know on this tour you also played Austin last October. But this will be your first San Antonio show since Mike Mangini joined on drums.
Yes.
During the audition process, we all know what a fabulous drummer he is. During the audition process, how much of an advantage did he have, given that he's played with you before on Moma's
All of it.
records?
I said he's getting in. That's it. I said,
The other guys didn't
I don't
matter.
give 2 shits about the other guys. He's getting in. No.
But there had to be some kind of...
No, the advantage is that the other guys had heard my solo albums. They know the kind of drummer he is. Over the years, they've seen him in various other bands, whether it was Steve Vai or Extreme, or just him doing his clinics and him being in the Guinness Book of World Record. He speaks for himself. He's very musical. He's very intuitive, especially with this music and the styles that we are, eclectic as it is. He fits in seamlessly. The only thing is they all knew my first pick was going to be Mike Mangini. My second pick was Peter Wiltord, both drummers that have been involved with me on my solo albums. But I mean, them too as well. They were all for Mike coming down. Jordan and John all said, absolutely, Mike Mangini has to be one of these guys that we pick. So we were all unified in that sense. I think it was just so evidently clear that after he came in, which he was the very first drummer, and we were kind of looking at one another, going, oh my God, this is unbelievable how he came in. He blew the doors off of everything that he played that day. And he was just, very, you could see, very committed, very focused, and really showed us every indication that he wanted the gig. Yeah.
And of course, a dramatic turn of events is the latest record and the debut of Mike in the band. Did the recording and writing process at all change from your previous efforts or some of your previous efforts because of his presence?
Well, he wasn't. He wasn't
involved in
there.
writing.
Yeah, he wasn't present when we were writing. But yes, that being said, it was completely different for us to go into the studio with no drums in the room. If anything, I think it really allowed us to. We wouldn't have wrote the kind of album that we did. Because it was a completely different environment. It was more relaxed, more patient, more calm, more quiet. Just because we were all focused on whatever the seeds were, and then developing those seeds, whatever the riffs, whatever the ideas, the sections, being able to listen to it in its naked sense, and then putting the drums. John Petrucci would lay down drums from the computer. Hang on. There's a very impatient phone. So I'm back.
He's back.
I'm back. Technology. Jeez.
It's live.
Anyways,
sort of.
yeah.
By the time you see it.
But so I think that really allowed us to be able to approach songs quite differently than we would have in the past. I mean, the main. Can you believe that? The main ingredients were still there. There were still 4/5 of the guys that were there previously, and with I mean, it's no big secret, but I mean the two main writers of the band have always been John Petrucci and Jordan. Coming in with a lot of these ideas and the riffs. I mean, it's got to start from there. And John Young too was much more involved, coming in with his ideas, and so it really made for it was a very collective. And I'd be suggesting right in there, hearing things, suggesting things, and so it was different. It was different. Everyone was much more verbal, and whereas in the past things seemed to just go a little fast, and maybe not allowing us to just sit back and really let things sink in. Like I said, I really don't think, with all my heart, I know that it would have been, it wouldn't, the situation wouldn't have allowed for something like this to develop the way that it did, just because of the circumstances.
And I know my personal favorite song on the album is Lost Not Forgotten, and I'm glad to say that we're guaranteed to hear that live tonight because you had that video contest with fans submitting, and I know the winning entrant was from South Korea.
Right.
How many entrants roughly did you guys receive?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
You have a
55 million billion. No, I don't know. I don't. I don't have a number. Maybe. No, I don't know. I'm not going to guess. Off the top of my head, I don't know. But it was great. I mean, the enthusiasm was. We knew that the fans were going to jump all over that, because a lot of our fans are musicians. You see them out there just taking it in, wanting to see how it is that we interact, wanting to see how it is that we reproduce what goes on in the studio. Can we actually make that happen live? And it's always been that way since the very beginning. But it was quite a few. So.
And and another song on that album, On the Backs of Angels, was Dream Theater's first Grammy nomination several months back. Obviously, the metal community has pretty much a hate relationship with the Grammys ever since 1989 and Jethro Tull. But these days, from a band's perspective, I mean, I've talked to several bands where it's half and half. Some of them are like indifferent still today, and other bands are like, wow, after all these years, we finally got recognized. What side of the fence are you on? Was it very meaningful? Even though every rock band there lost to the Foo Fighters that night, still to be nominated.
It was the Foo Fighters year, right?
Yeah, still to be nominated.
And I think they're a very cool band too, and so I'm not going to take anything from them. It would have been nice for them to just kind of go away for that one for us, but no. For me, I think it was great to have that recognition, to have the industry recognize us for who we are, and it was great timing too, in the sense that we had just been through a lot, and we had put out an album that was quite possibly our most important album to put out, to show our fans worldwide and anyone else that was listening that this was an album that we wanted to prove to everyone that what, we still are the same guys, and the main ingredients are still here that enable us to be who and what we are, and that is Dream Theater, musically and as an entity when we toured. So I think it was great timing for us to additionally get that nod from the Academy recording industry or community. I mean, it's a hard thing to say. I'm okay with everything that goes on at the Grammys because it's a no-brainer that most people know that it does pertain more the meat and potatoes of any Grammy show pertains more to the mainstream pop culture, more so than all the other styles of music and all the other bands that represent those genres, I'll say. But I think at the same time, though, it was something that we're proud of it, absolutely. And like I said, it was a nod from the industry, and I think the song did speak volumes. It was a great song, and so it wasn't just a matter of, well, they've been around for 20 plus years, so let's just throw them a bone. I don't think it was that completely. I think that helps that we have been around and that we have been knocking at their door, but I think that it was the right time and the right album.
Well, last question before I let you go. As I've said many times on social media, and as I told you over the phone a couple years ago, happy to have a chance to tell you now in person, James's solo album, Static Impulse. There were a lot of good albums, in my opinion, that came out in 2010, and Static Impulse was my #1 personal favorite, and I'm not just saying that because James is right here. It's a fabulous album. And, I mean, it could be a catch-22. It's safe to say, I think, that you don't really have to be a Dream Theater fan to like that album.
No, you don't. Absolutely.
Talk about that album. Of course, it was unfortunate that the tour got axed before it started.
Yeah.
But I already know you're working on the follow-up, so talk about that.
Yeah, we are. Well, first of all, if I'm going to do something, for all intents and purposes, Matt Guillory, we call ourselves the French Connection, Guillory and LaBrie. But I mean, he is, they say it's a solo album, but it's our baby. It's Matt and mine. We've been doing it since '99. The last album, I think any one of the solo albums, they speak on their own as far as the direction that they go musically, and they have to, because if they're going to sound like Dream Theater, then why the hell am I doing it? There's absolutely no reason for it. It's for me, and especially Matt, to be able to show that this is another side of us musically. Well, it's a side of Matt, period, but it's another side of me that I like to be able to express myself musically in that sense, both melodically, lyrically, and I throw Matt a lot of ideas, and he's throwing back a lot of ideas. The guy's incredibly talented. We have Marco Sfoli on guitar, phenomenal guitar player. Ray Ringo on bass, incredible bass player.
So it's the same guys as the last.
Oh, it's the same guys, and we got Matt playing keyboards. The guy's he's just incredible talent. All around talent. The guy writes amazing stuff. He can play the instrument like most can't. He's an intelligent, down-to-earth, humble person. You got Peter Wildur on drums now, who's just a phenomenal drummer. So I just think that album itself, Static Impulse, it's aggressive. There are some screamo vocals on there, which a lot of people did not expect to hear. With Matt and I, we decided that we wanted to go that road just because the music itself lent itself to that type of interpretation. But we didn't want it to be that the voice was being represented as the voice. Like I said, I don't mind doing this, but I think that it needs to be included as more an instrument than a vocal. And I think because we did approach that and we used it selectively throughout, that it did have that effect. And it wasn't overbearing, or it wasn't confusing to most to say, well, this is James LaBrie's thing, so why does he have a screamo vocalist on there? So we had to be, wise and that. But I think we achieved everything we wanted to achieve on that album. It's definitely there, and I think where we're taking it this next album, it's amazing.
Do you have a title or a release date?
No, no. Well, release date. Actually, I was just speaking with Paul Gargano, who's my product manager with Century, and we're looking at possibly February, late February, maybe early March, but definitely that's what we're shooting. That's what we're aiming for.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
go pick it up when it comes out. Get Static Impulse. Get a dramatic turn of events.
Absolutely.
Check out Dream Theater on tour, and hopefully the solo tour will come back to San Antonio.
Yeah, yeah.
James?
Yeah, well, I hope I can make it happen next
Yeah.
time. It's all, that window of opportunity, so I have to make it work.
Well, thank you so very much for taking the time. Going to let you
Thank
get
you.
ready for the show.
Thank you.
For James, this is Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music
Thank you.
Examiner. We'll see you next time.